Do you love your mind? Do you laugh a lot? Do you love everything you think? You know, if you don't love it, that's if you don't love it, in other words, if you're not connected with it, if you don't love it, then how can you love? Because what we're thinking and believing, we, like Post-its, we put on people and situations in our mind's eye. But if we love everything we think, we love everything we see. It's a connection that's unbreakable. And if you found that link, you're disconnected or it's broken, in other words, a disconnect, you go, oh, what was I thinking and believing? And you just move it from here to paper, or put it on an email to yourself, or text or something. But just bring it from your head to paper and then meditate in that. And then what you thought will become laughable, just stay with it until it's laughable. And this inquiry, for those of you that aren't familiar with the inquiry that I noticed as I lay on the floor one day, the first question is, it's like, she didn't tell me the truth. You know, if I'm talking to someone, she's not telling me the truth. You see my attitude? She's not telling me the truth. You feel it? You feel what you think. Mind is cause, emotions effect. So she's not telling me the truth. Okay, so there was a disconnect. So I would question that, and the 4 questions are, she didn't tell me the truth. Is it true she didn't tell me the truth? Can I really know that it's true she didn't tell me the truth? So I'm meditating. It could take me 5 days to sit in that. I'm not in a hurry. And then I witness how many people, objects, I put that on, and I'm in it, I'm experiencing it, noticing how I react when I believe the thought and what happens, that disconnect. So is it true? Can I really know that it's true? That gives me a second chance, right? How do I react? What happens when I believe the thought and I see it again? I mean, that's what the past is for, so you could go back and wake up to, I could say the present, but that's just a beginning. And then that 4th question, who or what would you be in that situation if you didn't believe that? So you can see with each one of these questions, it's nothing, it's just simple meditating on a moment in time. Where there was a disconnect with, you could say, your fellow man, or a disconnect with yourself is what it really is. If I'm disconnected from you, that's a disconnect with myself. Understand? Feel it. And who am I in that situation? Without that. And then I turn it around to find an opposite. She didn't tell me the truth. When I turned that around, I didn't tell her the truth. Now that doesn't mean I didn't. When we find these opposites, it's a way of simply entertaining, just meditating in that situation. I didn't tell her the truth, and I try that on. I try it on. Well, I've already seen it. I was smiling like everything was okay, and my head was going, she's lying to me. That's me lying to her. That's me lying to myself. Where did I lie to myself? I'm just identified as something I'm not. You understand? the opposite of my nature. So the next time I'm with someone and I have the thought, she, he isn't telling me the truth, if that occurs to me, a smile, it's like an internal smile that's going on all the time, like this life, this inner life that's going on all the time, this love affair with the self, the mind's love affair with itself. Going on all the time. The next time I have that thought onto someone, I'm awake. I'm awake to it. So the person they're standing with, me, they're standing with the real thing. This is it. So what they see onto me or imagine onto me is theirs, and I'm connected. So those are the 4 questions, and finding opposites, trying them on, see what fits, waking up to a moment in time where I was asleep, to my heart, to what matters, identified in the faults as the faults, asleep, noticing, just noticing, and being so grateful for emotions that is the temple bell. We're not awake enough to see it without effect. Now, we could say that this mind that I live in, I don't know another way to say it, but this mind that I live in is, it's a joy, a joy, and it's not personal. Driving over here, Jogen was saying that a part of this Buddhist community, you live together in a practice where you are in residence. It's upstairs at the monastery.
Well, an hour or two.
And you know, what a privilege. What a privilege to devote your life to the only thing that matters. How wise. And that's not the path for all of us. I needed a noisy city. This is where it lived. But what a beautiful opportunity you have. And, you know, I think I'm an example of, we can do it from anywhere. I sat on a rock one day, and it was a large rock. And I was invited to do an event. And I said yes, which is my custom. And so I flew to, it was Salt Lake City actually, and we were having a break. It was like a lunch break or something, and I was sitting alone, which I never am, and I always am. And I was sitting on a rock, and I thought, every word out of this mouth is a lie. And I haven't changed my mind. every word out of my mouth is a lie that's against this. And something happened in me in that moment. I don't know if it was a vow or a determination. It was more like a got it, that I would never speak again. Not ever. And what happened in the same time was the awareness that I never have, I never will, I never could. And I haven't spoken since, you understand? Any questions? Yes. It's right here.
Test.
Thank you.
So I just learned that again, but really for the first time, that Buddhists are about non-duality, and I thought, yay. So you got the never speak story, the never speak again story.
You said what a privilege it is to devote your life to the only thing that matters, and I resonate with that deeply. But as a young person, I also feel a calling to do what I can to benefit all lives with the life I have to live. And that seems to me to be a calling to do work to restore balance in the ecosystems of the earth. Have you put thought into what an individual can do towards developing balance in the ecosystems of the earth?
Well, I think it's I think it's beautiful, and to not, I'll use the word neglect, but not to sacrifice your practice, because doing what you consider to be good in the world is like your heart. It's a match to your heart, so they go together, your practice and your action. It's a beautiful thing.
That makes sense to me. But if I may follow up, do you think that there are different roles that different people are meant to play with their lives in contributing their strengths? Do you think that there's any predetermined path for people?
You know, I just kind of leave that to you. My life is I leave it to you. I leave it to you. It sounds like you have a lovely balance and a lovely life.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate your wisdom.
And vote. You know, also, every thought you have is a vote for peace or war. Try that one on. Yeah. She didn't tell me the truth. War. Not quite sure whether she did or not. A little more balance there. Stand in this don't know. It's where the power is. You had a question?
I'm curious about, I guess, pre-verbal suffering, or suffering that doesn't seem to have a thought attached to it. Going into a space or seeing something or hearing someone say something without any thought arising, just there being fear or anxiety or any other negative emotion that comes up with that.
Can you give me an example?
Okay, so my experience of going into very crowded spaces, not going in and having a thought of this is going to be bad or this is wrong, but going in and noticing just a real like animal fear arise in my chest. Yeah.
You know, you're asking the right person. I was agoraphobic for years. Horrible. And when the work found me, I saw that I thought like you did. It was just, it was as though it just came on me. But if you get really still, when you experience that again, if you get really still, and I used to, if I were in like a shopping mall, I would just go against the wall and sit down. In those days, there were a lot of people in malls. But I would just move out of the way and sit against the wall and get still and test it for myself. Did it just come on? You know, because I had already seen mind is cause and body is the effect. The world is the effect. Emotions are the effect. So I just move aside, get still. Just do it in the moment. And until I could see what really happened in my mind while it was still fresh, and it really does take stillness. Really open to those, the images in your mind's eye and what you were thinking about those images. That's what makes it. Like images are nothing. What we believe onto them are something. Past, future, okay? And get really still until you can see it. And then you can laugh. And then it takes courage, like to walk through it and see if what you were believing, like that was and we'll call it like an instantaneous flash of the future that you didn't notice before the emotion. And you get still, you sit down, you get that, and maybe the flash was, it gets really weird, like someone's going to, like you're gonna go crazy, and they're gonna come take you away in a straitjacket and put you away if they knew who you really were, how you really were, you know. Just expect anything when you get still and you see what flashed to bring on that kind of fear. And then just watch. And then when you stand up again, just test it. But it can be so whacked out that people would call you crazy, but it was there. And so you just walk through to see if you do really fall apart. And if you do they really come get you and lock you? You know, you just walk through it. And at least you know what you're up against. Yes. And then you put it up against the world as it really is, as opposed to what we imagine it to be. until you can leave here. In my case, until I could walk to my mailbox, which was about 10 steps from the front door. Yeah, and then I walked to the corner. It's amazing. And then, you interested in this? Oh, boy. Lock me up later. So then, in this, oh gosh, I don't know if this is constructive or not, but I'll tell it. Let you be the judge. I didn't know how to articulate this gift of seeing. But I recognized beyond a doubt our true nature. Once you understand your own, that's all you can project on the others. That projection keeps going. But you're in the right ballpark when you understand your true nature. Terms for it like love, connection. But I would actually leave my home and walk. For an agoraphobic, that's quite something. Leave my home and walk into someone's home. That's the opposite of agoraphobia. Walk into someone's home, just open the door, walk in, sit down on the couch, and because I knew that every home, everything belonged to all of us. And that there's no place I would not be welcome. To know that, to get that, not to guess at it, but to really get it. They would come in and they'd say hello, and then eventually they would find out, well, there's no family member that invited this person here. And terrible things would happen at that point. Now, I'm like this 43-year-old, odd, obese woman sitting in their living room. And the terrible things that would happen was consistent. It was like this. May we help you? I was meeting the human race. I'd never met them before. It was as though I'd just been transplanted here from hell to not. Can we help you? Are you from around here? And I wouldn't answer because I knew they knew. They know where I come from. Right here. Is that where the heart is? On the left side? You know those symbols? I knew everyone loved me. There was not a doubt in my mind. And that was like 30 years ago, and I'm still testing. And I'm always right. It's a flawless state of mind. And everyone's welcome into it. And then my family felt better by pinning to me or putting in my pocket my name, my address, the phone number to be contacted, because they were so glad I was finally out that they wouldn't lock me up again. It was better than where I'd come from, I guess. I didn't have a teacher like you're privileged to have. So my nature was my teacher. I didn't have a mind that said don't. And sweetheart, it was always kind. It was never hurtful, and believe me, I know the difference. And again, in all these years and time, If someone walks up to me and says, I hate you, compassion. Get in touch with how it feels to hate. If I don't understand someone that says, which no one has, but if someone says, I hate you, if I don't understand the pain of that, then I'm out of touch. So if someone hates, says, I hate you, there's nothing personal about that. If I hate, that's mine. If that person says, I hate you, the most powerful thing is in my world is to be with a troubled person like that. And you'll find them on the streets a lot. You'll find them where they really need help. And I'd say that's all of us. But to know yourself is to know who and what you're dealing with at all times, and it doesn't take this. It's a known. You know, I was married to a man that he was, when the work found me, and which is what I call this inquiry that I appreciate so much. And and I'm agoraphobic in that situation with that husband. And he was very large, and he had this great big belly, and he was very loud, very Italian. And he's used to me just being agoraphobic. And maybe I would stand up, turn, start walking out the door, and he would just panic. And you've heard a couple of my stories, so you would understand why he naturally would. But he would say things like, "Where the hell do you think you're going?" Which used to enrage me. But it was like, this man is brilliant. Where the hell do I think I'm going? So you have Jogen, lucky you, and I have Paul, and we all have the teacher. The teacher is the one in front of us always. Always. No mistake. What the hell's the matter with you? It's the most amazing question. I could sit with that for a week. And did. The people in our lives, precious. There's no one that is not the Buddha. And it's just about recognizing that. I was so thrilled to, I don't do this a lot, do I, honey? I love your Jogen, so I'm taking advantage of the space to talk to you as I would our Jogen. So it's any questions?
Okay. What do you do if you can't get past, is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? That can hang me up.
Well, if you're a meditator, don't get past it. Just be patient, and maybe it'll come later or tomorrow. And if I had the thought, like, say I had the thought, Stephen is unkind, and I ask myself, is it true? If I had a thought like that, I would allow life to give me the answer. So, Stephen is unkind, is it true? And I just witness. He comes into the room and he says, sweetheart, would you like a cup of coffee? Okay, let's see, well, that's one. You know, that's like witnessing, no, it's not true. But then I'm a skeptic, so I just keep testing. And it's nothing I'm looking for, it's just I'm living in, is it true? And it shows me.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And also just to sit in it, and those things, like, would you like a cup of coffee? Can I help you? Those things will come to your mind anyway. And you could watch them lift. And the apparent lived. But I just recently discovered that the Four Noble Truths, and they absolutely just blew me away. And I was just over the top, just excited, like, honey, look. And he would say things like, I emailed those to you 3 years ago. So it's not that I'm the brightest bulb in the room, but it's not necessary if you're in a practice that you're open to, that brings you peace, and you stay with it. Yes.
I've noticed that very harsh self-judgment and harsh judgment of others seems to come from this very specific part of my mind. And as I've practiced more and more, it's easier for me to just sort of see thoughts that come out of that part of my mind and instantly know that they're not true. But what worries me is that that's a part of me, and I worry that by constantly saying, oh, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true, I'm kind of like dismissing that part of me, or just telling it no, like over and over again.
Yeah, I can see that. It's almost like you're going the other way, which is just kind of going the other way, but the same direction again. So the second question gives you a chance to really look at that again. Is it true? Can you really know that it's true? And then notice how you react. Like what self-talk? Can you give me an example? Self-judgment.
Of self-judgment, something like, oh, that was so, terrible that I said that, like awkward thing, yeah. I'm the worst for saying that. And I can sort of tell now that, like, oh, that's not a thought.
So that's a terrible thing I said, and then what was the self-judgment?
like that was so awkward of me to say that at that time, or something like that.
So I am what?
So I'm bad for.
Yeah. So let's just look at that, because the idea is you're bad, or you did it wrong.
Right.
Okay. So your mind might say, I did it again, I do it wrong all the time, I'm just, the ego's got to identify as something.
Right.
Okay, so you're bad, if we simplify, and I'm not hearing that was really it, but we'll take it because it's popular. It's popular self-talk. Okay, so you're bad in that situation. When you said what you said, you were bad. Is it true?
And so I think what I've started doing is just instantly saying, like, oh, I know that's not true.
Okay, now you're justifying, so that's not inquiry. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm bad. Okay, I'm looking at the situation. I said what I said. I'm bad, is it true? Now I'm beginning to notice, as I sit in that, as I meditate in that it spontaneously came out of my mouth. I didn't plan it. Would you agree to that?
Mm-hmm.
It just went. So you may be taking credit for something that you didn't even do on purpose. You see what's found when you get really still, and is it true? I'm bad, is it true? If you sit in that long enough, you'll see things like, you see an image of you there, you see an image of that just coming out of your mouth, and almost before it even completed, you were feeling guilty. So notice, did you even do it? You know what I mean? We don't think on cue. We're being thought. It's not personal, it's something to wake up to. So you're bad. I'm bad. Okay, I can see it just went out, and I can see. I'm being there now from here. I'm meditating there, on the crime. Okay. So how do I react when I believe the thought? Okay, I see me there now. My face is turning red. My personality kind of started to shift. I feel it right here, right here. And now I can feel it even goes up a little higher. I can see how lower and where it goes. And it's really important I get in touch with that as I'm meditating there, because those emotions begin to show me my mind where my mind wouldn't show me. It's a trickster. Okay. Who would I be without the thought, I'm bad? So you see, I'm more enlightened now than I was going into inquiry. So who would I be without the thought, I'm bad? Okay, so now I can see, now that I can see it just came out of my mouth. More self-compassionate. More aware. Truly innocent. I didn't do it on purpose. Our minds are on road. And it's a privilege to have it come out so we feel a little embarrassment, so we can bring it to inquiry later, so we don't have to live nothing happens that isn't for us. It's a divine order. This divine order, as it turns out. I'm bad. Now it's time to flip it, to turn it around. Okay, we're going to try it on like a new pair of shoes. We're at the store, we're going to try it on. They look like my size, but are they comfortable? All right, so trying it on. I'm bad. In that situation, what is the opposite of bad? I'm good. Okay, I'm going to try that on. Try that on. Oh, God. It's so embarrassing. Okay, I'm embarrassing. Okay, now come back to this. Be there now. Okay, I'm good. Well, I'm questioning it. Number one, I'm taking care of this lost identity. I'm taking care of myself, in other words. I'm doing my work. This is my practice. I'm good. I didn't do it on purpose. Now, I'm not just saying that. Can you see I tested it? I really didn't do it with forethought. With forethought, honey? I'm good. I'm working through it now. That's good. I found my innocence. That's really good. So I might just be with that. And just allow what's there to be there. It's a celebration that you can't take credit for. It's a given. It's the opposite of motion of bad. So look for it. So you see, I'm not just turning it around, and I'm not just saying, is it true? No, or you're sitting in yourself, giving it time. And one little thing like I'm bad, when you look at that in a situation like this, can shift all of a sudden, your identity was you're guilty, and all of a sudden you're living out of another identity. An identity that is so authentic that when it happens to you, like you say something else or you do something else, that the identity working with that one is different. You're working out of a more enlightened mind. It all matters. It's a shift from who you believe you to be to an unknown known. An unknown known by your heart, you can say.
Thank you for that response. I really appreciate it. Would it be, is what you're saying kind of to rest in even that sort of initial reaction more and kind of give it some space and give it some time rather than just immediately jumping?
You continue to sit in yourself, then it begins to take your consciousness over in real time as we see it. You're a different identity. Being honest becomes a natural thing. It's what you hunger for, which can tell you you're already there. It's just catching up to your beautiful self.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yes.
I share his problem, but I'm 58 years old, and you'd think I'd have gotten better by now.
I would question I'm 50 what?
58.
I would question that.
Well, I am responsible for my actions, and my speech, my words are part of my actions. I understand the innocence. I do come from a place of innocence, but boy, I step on toes. I say things without thinking them through in advance.
I would question I step on toes.
The faces look like I stepped on toes.
I didn't hear you.
The faces look like I stepped on toes.
Well, did you
The
step on their
reactions.
toes? So get personal with it. That is I stepped on toes is, look at it literally. You didn't step on their toes. So that's the first option to laugh.
Okay.
And with that out of the way, you can look at what it is that you did say. Maybe for you, it wasn't out of order. You could say something to me, and if I look like you said something that was out of order, that's on me. So you look to you, and if you did say something out of order, just get really still with it, and you might question what you said. It could be something that you believe. If I had an example, I think I could be of more help. But these worksheets, we have them here today for everyone. And
Yes, they're great, and you're right. I thought that maybe I might be special and be able to not have to write things down, like you said. And immediately I was defending myself in meditation, and as you said yesterday, that's the first act of war, and so thank you for emphasizing and clarifying that we need to write it down.
Well, I can tell you that I do. It's got to be stable, because I'm going to move it all over the place. And in our interaction, this young gentleman here, our interaction, you notice how you shifted around trying to find a place? And not in a big way, but just enough, when we write it down, there it is. And we can't defend ourselves that we didn't say it. But we can think things like, oh, I didn't really mean it. Thank you for sharing, and question it. Yeah. I don't let me get away with anything. Nothing. It's like I like that about me. I'm not hard to get along with. I'm not hard for me to get along with, because I trust me. Yeah, I'm good company for me. Yes.
I'm sitting here listening to this. It seems like it might be really helpful to have a worksheet on a specific example. And I brought my worksheet from yesterday if you want to hear about the thing with my mother in college.
So let's do the work.